This is a brief video about what we've discovered here on your pool system. Um, One item is, you can see here, we have air coming in, and upon listening, it appears that it's coming from right around this here, where the pipe is threaded in. This is the water coming in from the pool. You can actually hear it leaking in there while it's running. There may be another leak over on this valve, but not sure. This one here is pretty bad. The other is, it's also leaking on this fitting here, and see, it's been repaired a number of times. The discoloration means real high temperature on the pipe. But when these pumps run dry, these fittings tend to shrink. The other thing you can see on the motor, looks like a fairly new motor, but the seal underneath here, the seal between the parts to keep the shaft, the water from leaking out the shaft is bad. I could tell that by reaching up in here, and my hands are damp. When it's running, it's actually was dripping earlier. That seal is not a big deal to replace at all, but we've got a lot of corrosion going on from the moisture. That's because you have a salt system, and that water leaking, however small it is, really gets after those aluminum end bells. And also when I turn it on, you'll be able to hear the bearing howling pretty badly. Other than that, everything looks pretty good. One thing I did notice is on the positive side, the pipes coming in here are 2-inch piping, and that's great. And it comes in really large into the pump. It comes out 2-inch, and actually the piping that's coming from the salt generator, and it's heading out to the heater, and then back from the heater and going back out to the pool is all 2-inch, which is great. And the sand filter is a TR100, which is rated for 100 gallons a minute, and it also likes 100 gallons a minute for backwashing. But somebody in the past, look, this valve looks recently done, it's not that old, but you can see right here it's rated at 75 gallons a minute. And when the system's running, you can hear the water rattling in this valve, which means that we're moving over 75 gallons a minute, so it's probably closer to 85 gallons a minute. But what's a shame is that everything's 2-inch except for after it comes out of the pump, it changes right here to 1.5 inches, and it turns and does this little elbow here, goes into the system, then back out all 1.5 inches down to there. And then your backwash line here, which needs a full 100 gallons a minute to get a good backwash, is actually reduced to 1.5 inches all the way over to here, and then from there on out that's 2-inch. So in essence, by putting on a valve that's too small, the whole system is restricted, and don't get near the water flow this pump is capable of, or this filter is capable of, and the rest of the system is capable of. Now, at this point, I haven't really run it any length of time to see if that's really detrimental for the actual clarity of the water and keeping that volume of water clear. But it's just a shame that whoever did this in the past didn't know what they were doing enough to put a 2-inch valve on this, which is not going to cost much more, and actually run this plumbing all in 2-inch, which would really help the flow of the system. Would probably take it from 85 gallons a minute up to at least 100 gallons a minute, which in time really makes a difference. The other thing is when the filters don't backwash well, they tend to collect all the dirt and grime around the outer edges, and that causes chemical usage, because you just constantly have dirt and algae and grossness just constantly stuck in the filter. So that's one of the reasons why the filter is really only as good as the backwash is in order to get it really clean between run cycles. Anyhow, and here's the 2 time clocks. That's the filter pump right there and the cleaner pump. I see there's trippers on top of that one, and we'll get trippers for this one too, providing it can, keep the water clean, and we'll cut back on the run times on that. And so anyhow, this is the salt setup. I haven't even explored that yet, but it looks fairly new, so it should be all right. But initially, really what needs to happen right off the bat is we need to replumb this right here in the front to stop all this air coming in, because when it turns off, it's going to be taking air into the system, filling the filter all with air, and that's going to cause problems every time it turns off, and we're going to have water moving all over the place. Also, this would need replumbed as well. The seal replaced, and this motor's new enough, it's worth the effort to replace the bearing on this unit. Let's see here. Bearing replacement, and we'll probably, I may have a good used end on that we can put on that. That's kind of labor intensive. We're probably looking at about $150 versus the cost of a motor, which is like 300 and something odd dollars, closer to 400, because that's a nice 2 horsepower motor. And seals $15. Do the plumbing, we're probably looking at parts aren't even worth talking about. Labor's probably an hour, so that's about $125, and with parts. And that would get us up and running and stop all this air moving. At least we could determine if that's the only problem we have as far as air in the lines. I do suspect there might be a leak in the pool, but like I mentioned earlier in the text. But anyhow, well, this video has been much longer than I anticipated, but hopefully it explains a few things to you. And let's go. Thanks.